In this video, we'll be discussing Section 3, Banking Today. What are the services that financial institutions provide? So really today is just going through different types of financial institutions to see what they actually offer to customers and to the economy. The first one is measuring the money supply. Measuring the money supply. Money supply, all the money available in the U.S. economy. So all the money that is in the U.S. economy is divided into two pools. One is called M1 and the second one is called M2. And here's the difference between the two. M1, that type of money is very easy and accessible. So I have this $5 bill here. This would be considered very liquid because I could go anywhere right now and spend it. Because I have it right with me, this means I could go spend it right away. That's what liquid is talking about. Versus if I have money in a car, well, then that's not going to be as liquid because I would have to sell it first to get any cash. So M1, it means that money is immediate and it's ready to use to pay for goods and services. Now, the other one is called M2. M2 means that cash is available, but it takes a little longer. You have to convert it. So for instance, let's say you have stock in Amazon. You have money there, but it's not as easily accessible. You would have to go online, you would have to sell the stock, sell it off, and then get it converted into your bank account, and then you would have the cash. So this is that type of money we're referring to. Something that's not easily converted, like a vehicle, a house, or anything that's an item that is very expensive that takes some time to be able to sell. So this is referring to M2. Now, what are the services that we find offered in different institutions? If you were to go to the bank right now, any bank, you'd be able to open up a savings account, checking account, money market account, which means it's similar to a savings account, really what it is, or a CD. A CD is also similar to a savings account. The difference is that your money is held in this account for a certain amount of time, and you're not allowed to take it out. If you take it out prior to the agreement, that means that the interest that you have earned, you would not be able to gain that back because you took it out early. And there's some other penalties that they have too. But a savings, a checkings, a money market account, and a certificate of deposit known as a CD. Other offers would be loans. There's something called a fractional reserve banking. This is where the bank has to keep a certain amount of money on hand for day-to-day transactions with customers that come in. But the remaining balance that is above that amount, they do not have to keep on hand, and they can actually lend that out. So if you need to go buy a car, a boat, a house, whatever it is, fractional reserve banking is used for this purpose, to be able to lend that money out, and then that's how banks make their money, is off these interest rates that are out there. There's something called a defaulting on the loan. This is never good. This is terrible for your credit report. What this means is that you're unable or you're failing to pay back a loan. You are not making the payments, or in addition to that, you cannot make the payments. So you are defaulting on the loan. We have a loan called a mortgage. A mortgage is a type of loan used to buy a house or real estate, which would be land. And usually the time frame on those, you have 15, 25, and 30 years. You don't really see 25 years. It's usually 15 or 30. Other offers that we see are the services that are offered. You can open a credit card through a banking system. You can go online. You can go through Chase or Visa or Discover or American Express. As you get older, you'll get more and more of these credit card offers because they're wanting your interest. They want you to open it and use it as much as you can, because if you pay off your credit card at the end of the month, there is no interest earned by the credit card company. So for instance, let's say you went out and spent $300 on the credit card and it's due at the 15th of the next month. If you pay it on the 14th or 15th the next month, you don't have any interest that you have to pay on top of that. But if you do not, well, then what we see here is that you have to pay interest as well. So we have a couple terms here. We have something known as interest. This is the money you have to pay on top of the loan. that you're taking out. So let's say you spent $300 on the credit card. This is called principal. And if you do not pay it back by the due date, well, then there's going to be interest that's on top of that you're going to pay as well. We have something called simple interest, which is SI, and we have something called compound interest, which is called CI. And this means that simple interest is interest only paid on principal, and compound interest is interest on the principal and the accumulated interest. So what that means is, let's say you only pay $25 towards that $300 you spent. Next month, that $275 remaining balance plus the interest that you gained, let's say it's 10%, that $2.75 would be added to the $275. Now the interest would be on both of those things, and that's known as compound interest. When we get into the investment chapter, we'll talk more about that term. How do banks make profit? It's quite simple. You put your money into the bank. They'll give you a very small interest return, maybe 2-3%, and then they turn around with that money and then they borrow it out. So let's say a 24% interest on credit cards. And let's say that you open up a savings account and they promise you 4% return on whatever you put in there. So let's say you put in $100 at 4%, you're looking at $4 of a return on that. Well, then that interest on credit cards, they make their money on the additional interest. So let's say then you open up a credit card with 24% interest. You may be getting the 4%, but what about that other 20%? Where's that going? And that's how banks make their money, is by offering loans with high interest rates, and especially credit cards. And the more of a risk you are when it comes to the banking industry, the higher interest rate they can charge on that. I'm moving over so you can see a little bit what the text is saying here. Now, what are some of the types of financial institutions? We have our commercial banks. This is your Bank of America. This is your Wells Fargo. This is maybe the local bank if you live in a small town. We also there have been in the past savings and loans banks, which we talked about in the previous section. There's savings banks, there's credit unions, and finance companies. So these are all different types of different places for financial institutions. And again, when we get into the investment chapter, we'll talk more about these. Now we have e-banking or electronic banking. You can go to an ATM. We have debit cards. Debit card means that if I use my debit card and I scan it at Target, that means now that the money, let's say I spent $40 at Target, that $40 would be taken out of my account and sent to the Target bank account, whatever that would be. And then we have other things known as home banking. You can do at home, which pretty much everyone does, and on your cell phone. And what the great piece with all this, if you have a job especially, and if you get a paper copy of your check, most banks now have the opportunity for you to take a picture of the check and you don't have to deposit anymore. Like you could do it from your phone. And there's also store value cards, which are smart cards, gift cards, campus things, store credit cards as well. So there's some electronic banking. And that is the end of Chapter 10, Section 3 notes, talking about the services offered in the banking industry.